What's up, everybody? Jason with HOJ Forge slash Heap OG slash whatever. Had a question on one of my forging videos. Someone asked me about the forge I use, where I got it, how I got it, and I built it. And so I explained to him, maybe it's a her, him slash her, how I built it. And said I could probably take some video of it and show you, kind of give you a better idea of how I did it. And they said, please. So here we go. Let me show off the brake rotor forge made from scrap everything. Alright, so let me start with the table that, you know, all the coal and everything sits on. These are just two shelves from a metal shelving unit from work. They were getting rid of the shelving unit. I saw them throwing them away, and I said, I'll take all those shelves, because I like sheet metal. You can use it for lots of things, including making a table for a forge. So I flipped them upside down so that the top of the shelf is actually underneath there, and this would be the bottom of the shelf, but it gives me this little lip which helps hold coal and crap in there. And then I put them together. Here's the end of one going that way, and here's the end of one going that way. Overlapped them, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches. I just put it to the width I wanted it, and then welded them together, threw some tack welds down the center, and that was my table. Cut a hole in the center of it, and yeah, that's where I put the brake rotor. So let's look at that. A little hard to see because my forge is so messed up and dirty, but the edge of the table is right there. This is a rotor sitting upside down, so that this would be the inside where, you know, the wheel, the axle bearing would be normally. And so it's sitting upside down. The table's sitting on top of it with a hole cut out. And I just took a jigsaw and cut a hole in the table all the way around there, set it down on top, and then just tack welded it in place. The inside of the rotor, sorry for the mess, it's been a while since I've cleaned out the forge. But so the bottom here, this is just I call it expanded steel. It's just some plate steel with some holes drilled in it. I got it from the steel supply place I use. It was just a scrap piece they had lying around. I got it for, like, you know, a quarter or whatever they charged me for it. It was almost nothing. But it works great for this. You need some, you know, it's 1/4 inch steel, and you need some decent sized holes in it, and it was already there. So that's sitting on the bottom, and then around the edges here, just to give it a little more of a slope so it wasn't straight up and down as I'm trying to pull clinkers out. You know, I want a gradual slope. So I just use fireplace cement, or I guess it's called refractory cement, but this is what I use. It's rated up to temperatures of 3,000 degrees, which I don't believe this forge gets to, but it does wear out. The heat seems to take it over time. Also the clinkers stick to it, so when I clean it out, so like here's a clinker that was, you know, stuck to the side to keep things smooth. I'll just chip that out, and that pulls off a little bit of the cement with it too. So every few months I have to go in and you know, clean it up really good, get all the ash out of there, and then just put another quick layer around it. So that's the top of the fire pot. Alright, so these legs I got at a scrapyard. I think their original use was for like a work table, a workbench kind of thing. That's the best I can guess, but they were just already connected. They were, you know, a set of them. So 4 legs total. This, you know, connects across to that leg, and then on the other side it's the same. They were both just sitting there, and I just grabbed them. I think I paid maybe $2 for them, just scrap price, whatever it was per pound. But they're steel and solid, and that's what I put the table on. So on the table, on the top of each set of legs, there were holes where I could put some bolts down through. This is the bottom of one of the shelves. You can see the seam there where it was. So there were some bolts. So I bolted that down because the sheet metal, as I was working the forge, would make the table want to curl up at all kind of weird angles. So once I bolted that down, that was weird. Okay, so once I bolted that down, it kept it from wanting to bend and do all kinds of things. For the brake rotor itself, what I did was built this sort of framey looking thing just out of some scrap pieces, just at the right height to hold the brake rotor, so that the majority of the weight was sitting on this frame rather than the thin sheet metal trying to hold up the fire pot. So the fire pot's actually supported on this frame that I made, and the brackets or the shelves are just held down to the table rather than trying to support the brake rotor. So with my rotor, there were fins in between the two sides of the rotor, which went all the way through, so I just filled those up with some fire cement. And then I used some black pipe. This is a 2-inch flange, and then some pipe to do all the plumbing. So I can show you that too. So I don't remember how long these pipes were. They're 2-inch black pipe. You don't want the galvanized, just because you're generating so much heat on the forge, and from underneath you probably won't have to worry about any toxicity. I don't think it gets that hot under here, but better safe than sorry. The black pipe was pretty much the same price as the galvanized, so just make sure you get the black pipe. It's 2-inch, and I think these are either 4-inch sections or 6-inch sections here and here, and then there's this T right here with a longer, probably 12-inch pipe coming off it, and that's how the plumbing goes. Now you need it set up like this, so when the ashes fall down from the top, they fall through that grate, then they fall right down that tube, and there's just a cap on here. You can unscrew that before you start forging and dump all the ash out, and then you're clean and good to go. And then for the air supply, I just used some dryer hose and duct taped it to that. You could just go right from your air supply to that pipe, but with mine, let me show you that. I just use a hair dryer, and I wanted to be able to move the hair dryer to where it was easy to turn it on between high and low and off. And so I've just got the hair dryer attached to the other end of that dryer hose, which lets me move it wherever I want. And right now I've just got it bungeed up to the bottom of the table. So when I'm standing there forging, all I have to do is reach down and turn it on, turn it off. And I'm using anthracite coal right now, which is not the best for blacksmithing. You've got to keep a constant airflow. But if I just keep it on low, it's actually too much air for just keeping it burning. I need to devise some kind of a vent system to turn the air down even further, because I don't need to burn up that much fuel when I'm not actually forging. And then once I had everything all set to go, I just took the whole unit and put it on this, it's a Harbor Freight furniture cart, I think. Furniture mover, furniture dolly, whatever they call it. Bolted that down to the top, but this lets me roll it around. Right now we're inside my garage, and I don't have any chimney or flue system or anything in here, so I can't fire up the forge in here, but I want to keep it out of the elements. But when I want to forge, all I have to do is just roll it out into the driveway, fire it up, we're good to go. After it cools back down, pull it back in, and there we go, out of the elements, and easy peasy lemon squeezy. And then one other thing that I do on the top of the table here is I use these fire bricks. I got these at Menards, I think. They were a little pricey, but I just use these and put them on either side of the fire pot, and that just kind of helps me control how big the amount of coal gets and keeps it centered usually. The problem with the fire bricks is, at least the ones that I bought, are quite fragile. I've got pieces all over the place. You hit them too hard, you drop them. Even setting them down on themselves, if you do it too hard, they'll snap. Also, these like to melt. That's all a melted edge of a fire brick from all the heat. So I do have to replace these from time to time as well. But Yeah, they come in handy, and they last quite a while. This current set I've had on here probably 6 months, and there's still some life left in them, still enough to help keep things centered up in there. Is that it? I think that might be it. All right, so that's it. That's my basic forge setup. Easy, it was cheap. I might have 40, 50 bucks in it between the cement and the bricks and all the pipe that I bought. Everything else was just scavenged, and I probably didn't even need to buy most of that. You could use clay and ash and make some kind of mixture like that to line it, I've read, so I could have done that even cheaper. But if you have any questions, let me know. I'll try and answer them for you. I'm no expert, like I say, but this forge has done everything I've asked of it, and looks like it's going to hold up for quite a while longer before I have to do any major maintenance to it. So there we go. Hope it helped you out.